Hi there, this is Karen Stever. I'm here with Frank Gryner at thepublicrecord.com. We've been hosting Stever's Public Playground Project, which is a community effort to help us build a song from the ground up. We did vocals, we did drums, we did guitars, and then bass just ended last night. So today is Assembly Day. It's going to be a crazy day. But I want to go over some of the bass submissions, and Frank, your thoughts on some of these bass players.
Yeah, I want to start with a big shout out to David Nicholson, who has been sending bass parts in all week.
And we've been talking about all morning.
Yeah, because the last thing you sent in, David, the cleaner bass that you played from top to bottom is the money. It's I can't get over the
money for charity.
Exactly. His attention to detail on just every accent and accents that go beyond what the guitar's doing, like grabbing drum stuff. It was, amazing. That's what we're talking about.
Very cool. Let's talk about Music Rocks. You thought that there was kind of a cool thing going on with his bass as well.
Yeah, tonality. I mean, this is the great part of this. We get a lot of. We could say we're looking for bass parts, but the tonality of these basses are so diverse.
I know.
Music Rocks, your bass is so subsonic, like really full. What I think is going to happen, and we're still assembling, of course, but I think your bass is going to layer in really well, with another bass,
right,
and kind of have this best of hybrid kind of situation going
right
on. But really good in the way that, again, the attention to playing the part properly is definitely noted.
And another thing Frank's been saying is Jeff Cold.
Yeah, really solid submission there, Jeff.
Sounded really good.
Yeah, sounded good, played well. Just, I guess, it doesn't surprise me because Jeff, you've always submitted some excellent work. So.
Right, great. I want to point out Kevin Slack's organ. He gave a organ intro that you guys should go listen to. Just really very cool. Of course, you guys know by now I'm such a huge Deep Purple John Lord fan, and he had a really good, gnarly organ going on that I love. Now, you're not going to hear organs and keyboards and stuff on these stems tonight because we're going to open this up for this whole week, so there's going to be opportunity for you guys to add other things to it. A lot of you guys really concentrated on bass this week, so much to the point that I've heard about ripped fingers and heavy calluses, and oh my god, I haven't played bass in forever, this is crazy, and so you guys really ripped it, so thank you for your dedication on that. Frank, I would like to get a general philosophy from you on this overdub week, about when people are just sitting down, they're going to have a vocal with the guitar and the bass and the drums, a really solid track there. When they sit down to decide what to put on that thing, what are some factors?
Yeah, one of the things to remember at this stage in the game is that, okay, this puzzle is coming together, and there's space is very limited, both frequency and just part-wise, as far as there being a space to accommodate another like melody or counter melody or anything. It's getting pretty limited,
right.
And we just don't want to pack it in with everything, even though that we have so many great things that have come in. But I think need to be mindful of the vocal, number one. Just make sure we're not trampling over the vocal with some idea, even though the part might be really cool. It's got to play well with everything else, especially that vocal. Frequency-wise too. I mean, you hear old Motown recordings or any usually any arrangement that has horns. You notice how those horns never happen when a vocal happens, because the mid-range of those instruments are really present. And
right.
Back then, it wasn't like mixing the way we would mix now, where everything had its space. But I think we can take a cue from those days and go, I'm not going to put some real loud synth or even some abrasive string part, violin or something, right when a vocal's going on.
Yeah, having it poke between words and stuff.
Yeah, so you can play off the vocal and also be mindful of the register you're in. If you're playing the same notes as a vocal, it could clash. Whereas if you're above it, you could float above something pretty nicely.
Right.
Low end's filling up a lot, but you may...
But some more ethereal stuff, some string stuff, some keyboard, all those kinds of things. I'm really interested to hear your unique sounds that you have at home that I wouldn't even have in my library, so I'm interested to hear that. Let's talk about this solo guitar over this instrumental section.
Well, this part.
Chomp, chomp.
This part.
You hear that sound?
This section of the song was built for you guys, the guitar players who are dying to solo.
Right.
And I think like anything in this phase, it's kind of an anything goes phase. So if you want to try something that's not necessarily even appropriate for the song, you should have at it, and we'd love to hear it over here. But at the same time, maybe submit a version that is aimed at kind of a Stever sound. If you hear some of the other Stever songs that are on the page on the other Stever videos, you can kind of get a vibe for. We don't really usually have a lot of real technical shredding. It's more about vibe and attitude.
Can we go back to this philosophy of like submitting maybe a couple of them,
yeah,
where there's one that you feel, yeah, that really locks in with the rhythm guitar. Really always take a cue from what you're already hearing there first and foremost, and then have something that's a little more dangerous, because that's how Frank and I also discovered talent. Like this is how we get to know the talent out there, is when you guys do something kind of dangerous as well. But if you can submit that, do that to submission philosophy, if you do have time to do that, that'd be really great.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you guys about vocals this week. There is one vocal lead that's through the whole song right now, but I like layered vocals. And so I have a wish list for you guys. Doesn't mean that you have to do what's on here. If you have some other idea about some other vocal thing that you want to give a shot at, I really look forward to hearing that. Again, I don't want to miss anything. But I do have a little bit of a wish list. Get your pen and paper out. I'd like to get this Ted Roosevelt speech going. I'd like to hear a spoken word from a male vocal, unless you're a female that sings really, really low or speaks really low and you think you can sound like Ted Roosevelt, or you got a pitch shifter or something that you want to have a stab at. Creativity, go for it. But I'd like to hear a male vocal doing this Ted Roosevelt speech, and this is not FDR, this is Ted, so it's back 1907, so there are no recordings that I know of this speech, and I'd like to hear somebody else do it anyway. We're going to have a Word document that's going to be in the folder you're going to hear tonight when you guys download the stems with that speech in it. So if you guys, it doesn't matter where you rip over in the song, it'll probably end up before the song even happens, or we might cut it up throughout the song or something. So it doesn't really matter.
You may want to, you may want to just send it in without any, reference to the music.
Yeah,
just say it,
record
it and send it in.
Yeah. Now, when they're doing that, Frank, would you prefer just a clean vocal that we can affect after the fact?
I think, my gut feeling is that it's probably going to be lo-fied to try to make it seem like it's coming from that era.
Right.
But I wouldn't do it on your end. Just,
or reverb or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, do it dry, do it clean, and we'll, you got to suspend your disbelief on it sounding right. I think, well, you can hear, you can do, if you have a way of doing it yourself, but send in the dry and
As far as the delivery of that, you have to think about when these presidents back in that day gave speeches, they would have to really project, to give that speech. So maybe not like a little whispered thing in your bedroom if your parents are sleeping, that's unfortunate, but they'll be woken up. But just something that's kind of bold and sounds like a president giving a speech would be great. The other thing I would like to hear is a low vocal. If you're a female with a really low voice that you can do an octave below what I'm singing through the whole thing, that'd be great. But I'd like to get a male vocal doing a low octave through the entire song that mirrors the vocal that's there, because it's one of those things that it's as cool as you might, if you pronounce something a little different than what I do, it's going to clash. So for instance, if a line is breaking under my feet and I say breaking under my feet, I'm not going to go my feet, and things like that will clash. So if you can just make sure that you're getting the pronunciation and how long the words are held in each section, and can you give me 2 of those? I would like 2 low vocals that just mirror that whole main vocal throughout the whole song. It might not even be used through the whole song, but it gives lots of options. 1 octave below what I'm singing. That's not a harmony, so just make sure you're doing 1 octave below that whole thing. And then the same, I would like to hear if there's females out there who think they can do a high octave about what I'm doing. That would be awesome too. Again, 2 of them, because they'll probably be put here and here in the mix. So if I can get 2 highs that are an octave above, 2 lows that are an octave below through that whole song, that would be killer. Nice to have some different vocal texture going on in there. What else? And everybody on this entire site,
say yeah.
You know what it's like in the chorus line, in the chorus when you hear yeah and then yeah. I would like people to shout that out, because I'm hoping to do layers of that word.
It doesn't matter if you're not a singer. You can give me a yeah.
Yeah, you can totally do that. Just On that same note, though, right?
Yeah,
Just like,
I mean,
just to double that,
Yeah.
but shout out or yell it or whatever you got to do. But I want to get lots of yas on those two yas that are in the chorus. And I'd also like to hear some doubled vocals. So there's a difference between if you have a vocal sitting here, you have an octave above, or you have an octave below. A double is in the same range as the vocal. I'd like to get some doubles in the chorus, and specifically on those concrete eggshell lines. And I'd also like to have some people do, there's bruises on my knees, but nothing here is breaking under my feet. I don't know who's going to end up singing that by the end, but I'd like to get some just doubles of those. That's not an octave up or an octave down. The same.
Singing the melody,
yeah, same as what I'm singing there. So that's my wish list. Whatever you guys feel like doing outside of that, that's fine, no problem. But we are working feverishly on bass today, getting that thing locked in for you guys. So we'll be uploading it tonight at midnight, which is Pacific time, and starting tomorrow, you guys, this is the Anything Goes week. So we look forward to getting all your submissions in, and make sure they're in by next Sunday at midnight, okay?
all right.
Till next time, rock on.